Time now for this week's social story, where we post and you decide what story we dive into. You choose President Trump rebranding the Department of Defense, the Department of War. Over the other two stories, Mike Tyson set to fight Floyd Money Mayweather, and Elon Musk's new pay package that would make him a trillionaire. Joining me now for more on this is Chris Gordon. He's the Pentagon editor for Air and Space Forces magazine. Chris, thank you for joining me. Now, before we get to President Trump's reasons for doing this, what can you tell us about what went into President Truman's decision to use the name defense in the regrouping of branches of the military back in 1949?
And thanks for having me. And right, the Department of Defense name comes about in 1949. Briefly after World War II, the Department of War and the Department of Navy were merged to create the National Military Establishment, but that didn't quite catch on, and it was renamed the Department of Defense back in 1949, which it has remained ever since until this executive order allowing the Trump administration to use the Department of War name once again.
Now, what if supporters of this name change say are the reasons they support calling it the Department of War?
Well, President Trump and Secretary Hegseth say they are building a so-called warrior ethos. They're toughening the U.S. military, and the new name allows them to project victory, as President Trump said, strength, as President Trump said in the Oval Office yesterday, and a more forceful image of the U.S. military. Practically, day to day, it remains to be seen how widespread this change will be. Right now, it is limited to some signage in the Pentagon, but the reasoning is President Trump and Secretary Hegseth say they want to project a more powerful view of the American military.
Now, Chris, we know Congress would need to make the change official, but what would you say is the buzz around this name change?
Well, it's been rumored for some time. The administration has teased it. President Trump's made comments to the effect of maybe we'll change it in the past, and Secretary Hegseth is keen on the idea. So it doesn't come as a huge surprise. The administration, it's obviously very clear, especially the Pentagon has made a great deal around trying to change the messaging and how they're viewed from the Biden administration. So it doesn't come as a shock, but right now it's only a secondary name. It would require an act of Congress to formally change the name, which would be a vast undertaking with the tens and tens of thousands of installations, just about everything in the Defense Department, which is still its legal name, has the name on it, and it would be a massive undertaking to legally change the name. And it is unclear whether the Trump administration actually plans to go that route or whether they will just use this stylistically.
Now, Chris, quick answer here. Washington just hosted that military parade this past summer, celebrating the birthday of the U.S. Army. Do you anticipate more spectacles like that in the future? The nation's 250th anniversary is coming up next July.
Well, I think this administration has put a large effort on projecting military power. President Trump has said he's keen on military parades. We saw when President Putin met President Trump for the summit on Ukraine, there was a flyover of stealth bomber and stealth fighters. So I think this administration is not afraid of showing off U.S. military equipment. President Trump says it's the best in the world and likes to show it off. Now, critics would say back it up with more spending for the U.S. military.
All right, Chris. Chris Gordon, thank you for that.